Hello and welcome. My name is Wendy with loveandstampin.com. Super excited that you're here with me today because I have a brand new color splash video for you. But in this video, yes, there is a fun color combo for you to use, but most importantly, I have die cutting time saver tips for you. So you're not going to want to miss out on those because there are a few things that I've learned along the way that just help you save a little bit of time when you're die cutting and making your cards. So I hope you'll join me for the next part of this video. And if you need any of the products that you see in the video, make sure that you click on the links below the video. You can purchase them there in my online store. You can also go over to my blog and check out all the pictures and everything like that. All the links are in the bottom of the video. And of course, you can always connect with me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, all those links are below the video as well. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so here are our colors for this week. We've got Basic Gray, Melon Mambo, Coastal Cabana, and Pear Pizzazz. Beautiful color combination for spring and just an overall very happy color combo. I'm going to make one card today using the Pretty Perennials bundle. Again, all this stuff is linked below the video if you want to purchase any of it. I do have a host code right now from March 2nd to March 22nd. If you purchase $40 or more, then you'll receive a $10 gift from me in the mail. It's a little goodie bag. So this is the Vine Design bundle, and I'm using this one to make 3 different cards. But I'm not going to be making the full cards for you. I actually just have some tips I want to show you. So as you can see here, I've punched all the insides out, and then I've got these 3 ovals that still have all the pieces in them. So anytime you die cut stuff that is really intricate, often there are little bits and pieces nestled inside that then you have to push out. So I'm going to use a little paper piercing tool that I have. Now you can use the Take Your Pick tool, which I've linked to below. This is an old paper piercer from Stampin UP that they used to sell, and I just still have mine, so sometimes I grab for those. And then a big tip here is, you just saw me wiggle my pinky at you. Put your pinky on the back of the paper as you punch. So it's kind of like a support. Now, of course, you don't want to poke into your fingers, so you do want to be careful. But I use my fingers on the back to kind of give support to the area that's not being punched out. Does that make sense? So the area that's being punched out, the paper piercer is going through. The area that's not being punched out, you kind of push against, and it creates enough resistance that the inside comes out really easy. Now, for those of you who might be asking, this isn't how dies should be. Everything should just fall right out, meaning you run it through, you pick it up, and everything's out of it. I have not met a die or a machine yet that does that. So the best you can hope for is that they all die cut really well. In this case, they do. So there's nothing holding them in there except just that little bit of like resistance from the cut edge. So it's not like they're staying in because they didn't cut. They're staying in just, I don't even know why. It's like a science thing. They stay nestled in there even though they're completely cut all the way through. So I'm just going through and punching all the pieces out. And I did this in real time because I wanted you to see, 1, how long it takes, and 2, I wanted to show you that if you cut multiple layers of the same die cut, doesn't matter if it's the same color or not, you can stack them together, as I've done here, and you can punch them out all at once. And this is a huge time saver. So instead of having to grab each one of these dies and punch them out one at a time, I stacked all 3 of them together and punched them all at once. Now, you might be thinking, Wendy, that's obvious, and I've been doing that since the beginning of time. It was not obvious to me. Why? I don't know. But one day I was like, why am I doing these individually? Why am I not stacking all of these together and punching them out at the same time? just little things like that. This is going to sound so silly to you, I'm sure, but little things like that are just, sometimes they're not the most obvious things, sometimes aren't the things that I do. And I don't know if any of you are like that, but I thought I would take the time to show you my tips in case any of you are like me and just simply never thought to do it that way. So, here on this die cut, I did have one little piece that was a little bit stuck. And so I just separated the other two die cuts from it and then worked on this one individually. I just had this one piece right here in the center that didn't quite get cut all the way through, but with a little bit of pokey tool business, it came right out. So it was no problem. So that brings me to another method that is a great time saver that I thought you might enjoy or appreciate. So there's all three. Now I'm going to glue them all together. Okay, so here is another time saver that I have. This is a weird one. Again, obvious probably to most, but this is how I store my dies. They have these plastic envelopes and magnets. I've linked below the video. I get these from Stamp in Storage. I love them. So I label the top of them. I have all my dies go in them, and that's a great time saver visually. But here's the time saver that I'm not telling you about right here. You see how there's dies that belong in this pack that aren't in there? What I do is if I'm using a bunch of different dies, I pull the envelopes with the magnets, I pull them out of my regularly organized little case, and I pull the whole envelope out and I set it aside on my craft table so that it's not filed in with the rest of my dies. That way I know whatever dies I have out and I'm using are those packets are the ones that need to go back in. So I have them labeled and I put the dies back in the appropriate pouches when I'm done. Okay, tip number 3. When you have an intricate die cut that doesn't want to come out of the die, you can take your take a pick tool with your little die cut brush, roll it right over the top while it's still inside the die on top of this little mat. Now Stampin' Up sells the little die cut roller attachment, and they sell this little it comes together. So the little die cut brush and the little sponge mat underneath come together as one. So that's that one. Super, super simple, and it makes it easy to get little pieces out of a die cut. Okay, this card I'm actually going to finish for you because I have some here that I thought I would finish. And I thought it would be fun to just talk you through a few of the tips on these cards. So for this card here in particular, I took each of the colored cardstocks that I used and I glued them down to the layer, to the card layer. Then I folded it in half, burnished the edge, and added to the front. But before I did that, I want you to notice there is like an raised embossed image. What I did is I glued the strips down, then I ran all of it through an embossing folder together as one solid piece. And that is what gave me this really cool look where it almost looks like the colored cardstock is impressed into the white cardstock. So just another little tip for you on something fun to do. I've got my adhesive sheets here that I'm cutting down and adding to the back of the card. I still am waiting on my Stampin' Dimensionals. I ordered them and they are due to come in Monday. So hopefully I'll have those Monday. For those who don't watch my videos regularly, I ran out of Stampin' Dimensionals and I never have done that before in my life. So anyway, there's some on the way. There's some coming to the rescue. So I'm peeling off the backing here and then I'll stick this onto the front of the card base. And I'll move on to the next step here. Okay, so I ended up making, so FYI, there's 3 of these die cuts. You saw me just punch out one, but I actually had 3 of these cut and I layered them all together and glued them all together. And now I'm going to add it to the card base. So when I saw the Vine Design bundle, I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it. And these cards are a absolute representation of what I wanted to do. I wanted to cut them in white. I wanted them to look like an embellishment, and I wanted to be able to add them to a front of a card. So that's what I did with them. I really, really, really love how they turned out. And I love how all 3 of the cards came together. I think they're really beautiful. Okay, so I'm adding my glue here, going to glue this guy down, and then we're going to move to, I think I have another card for you that I'm going to show you. While I'm putting things together, now that I've given you my tips and we've chatted a little about crafting, I have some story time for you. So most of you know my 40th birthday was on March 2nd, and that was a Tuesday, and I turned 40, and that's why I'm doing my Fabulously 40 giveaway right now, where if you purchase $40 in product, then you get a gift from me in the mail. So again, that is March 2nd to the 22nd. So, of 2021, by the way, in case you're watching this video way down the road. But anyway, my mom and my daughter threw me a surprise birthday. So I was totally shocked, you guys. They got me 100%. I had no idea, and it was awesome. So on Sunday is when they threw it for me, and they had this elaborate plan. And basically what they did is I had to go to the church around 1 o'clock because I transferred all the bookkeeping stuff back over to the previous person who used to do it. So I was getting all that kind of finished up and ready to hand back to her and give back. And then she kind of like rushed off, like, oh, I need to get going or something. Well, now, of course, now I know why. But anyway, my daughter called me, and it was like right about 2 o'clock, and she called me in the afternoon. She called me and she said, Mom, I need you to come pick me up. And she had stayed the night at my mom's house. Well, the night before, my mom had had her second COVID vaccine. So I have heard that some people have a reaction to the second COVID vaccine. So I had told my mom, if you have any sort of a reaction, let me know. I'll come get Macy. So Macy calls, and she's kind of frantic sounding. And she's like, Mom, you need to come get me right now. And I'm like, okay. And I think my mom is sick. Uh-oh. My mom has had a reaction. Macy's freaking out about it, and I've got to get down there right away. So I jump in my car. I go down there. I go straight from the church. I get there. I knock on the door, and my mom's like, come in. And I open the door, and surprise! My mom lives in a fairly small one-bedroom apartment. So it was just my in-laws, my sister-in-law, and her kids. And unfortunately, this is a story for another day. Unfortunately, sister, my biological sister, is in quarantine right now because she was exposed to COVID, her and her family. So they've been in quarantine. And I just did a brief little bit here of this video to show you all the cards that I made. So, anyways, they didn't get to come, but it was me, my husband, Macy, my mom, my in-laws, my sister-in-law, and her 2 kids. And it was pretty full because my mom's apartment's really small, but it was perfect. And it was such a wonderful surprise. And they had all the foods out that I love, a charcuterie tray. My husband bought me a bottle of wine, and he told me that I could pick out a couch, because I've been really wanting new living room furniture. So he told me I could pick out a couch. Anyways, so that was my birthday celebration. And then a couple days later, on my actual birthday, my mother-in-law had dinner for me, so I didn't have to cook, and my mom attended that as well. So I got gifts and love and cards from everybody all over the world, actually, and I can't even tell you how grateful I am. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see any other videos from me, click either one you see here. You can shop with me at shoploveandstampin.com. And you can also, remember, place an order of $40 or more before March 22nd, and you'll get a free goodie pack in the mail from me. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.